Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Corps. I just messed up again. Not the Commander's Corps studio. If you didn't notice, not quite in the studio right now. So please excuse, the less than ideal circumstances with the audio quality. It's all right. It's just you can hear a little more echo than you usually would be able to, and the background's not as interesting to look at than the studio. Or maybe you think it is. Maybe you think a plain wall is more interesting. Regardless, I think this is a pretty interesting episode. There we go. Good transition, right? Very smooth. This episode, we're going to be talking about cards that must be unbanned. Cards that Wizards, I guess Wizards isn't really in charge of the rules committee's ban list, but the rules committee needs to unban these cards, or should consider unbanning, well, at least some of these cards, because these aren't all my picks. These are picks from my play group as well, so I'll have to give you my take on their takes and, let you know what I think should be unbanned. Again, there are 24,000 or so cards in entire Magic, right? And there's like 40 or 50 that are banned in Commander, and there's some that are questionable on if they should be banned or not. So all that said, let's jump into it. And we're going to start things off with Eddie's picks, actually. I'm just going to read right here. A very fancy tablet right here, just reading right now. Here we go. Eddie, if you want a hot take, then unban Tolarian Academy. It's a straight busted card, but Gaia's Cradle and Sarah's Sanctum are unbanned. Time to be consistent. I like the pick, Eddie. Now, let's go through Tolarian Academy really quick and talk about why it currently is banned. It's a legendary land, can tap for a blue for each artifact you control, which is a pretty crazy effect. I mean, again, like Eddie said, though, we already have Gaia's Cradle, which does that for creatures, Sarah's Sanctum, which does it for enchantments. Now, obviously, both of those are incredibly powerful cards. Gaia's Cradle probably more so because it's easier to just flood the board with a ton of creatures than enchantments in most circumstances. That being said, out of all those things, it's easiest to flood the board, of course, with artifacts, because there are plenty of artifacts out there that either cost 1 or nothing, and a lot of cost reduction effects too. You can just get an absurd amount of mana really quickly. I mean, I just think that would be pretty gross to see an Urza deck. I mean, it's already gross to see an Urza deck, right? But now it's even grosser to see an Urza deck that would have this in it too. So again, at a base level, I'd say it doesn't tap for anything, right? But most times it's going to be like, oh, at least tapping for a couple, sometimes tapping for an absurd amount of mana. So yeah, I mean, again, to be consistent, it would be unbanned, but they are kind of saying that, the rules committee be saying that this is on a higher level than the other ones, even though Gaia's Cradle is pretty busted too. So yeah, I think I actually agree with Eddie. For consistency's sake, I think that this one could be unbanned. Do I think they're ever going to unban any of these cards I'm bringing up in this episode? Probably not. But it is definitely one that you could have an argument for to say, we already have these other ones. Why is this one not unbanned as well? So we shall see if that ever happens. But yeah, that's Eddie's first pick. Second pick, though, we've got Eddie's, what he said, a colder take. I like it. Hot take, colder take. There you go. Well done, Eddie. Unban Arayo Soratami Ascendant. I'll admit it isn't a fun commander, but neither is Turgid and plenty of other unbanned commanders. Ryo is a little monocolor 1/1. It only counters the first spell, so opponents can play around it. Either side is easily removable and telegraphed. Playing 4 spells to flip is tough, even if it is accomplished once in a game. The player probably can't easily afford to do that twice. Jing Ataxia's Progotire is somewhat comparable and has generated 0 controversy. I mean, other than being on the Salt score, I guess. While he costs more, there are no required to activate the ability. It's narrower and has additional upside that Ryo doesn't have. Yeah, I think I agree with Eddie, actually. Let's read the card really quick. Ryo Soratami Ascendant is a 1/1 legendary creature Moonfolk Monk, flying for 2 mana. When you cast the when the fourth spell of a turn is played, flip it, so it doesn't have to be just yours. And it says, Ryo's Essence on the bottom, counter the first spell played by each opponent each turn. So this one can counter quite a few things, and this will give you a way to essentially say, yeah, you gotta kind of play around it to try to get there. So it's gonna take a while for you actually to try to get through, and especially if you are playing a mono blue deck with this one, you probably have a lot of low to the ground effects to actually make this flip easier, and then also a good amount of counter spells to try to stop your opponents from getting rid of it. So it is one that, again, I do agree with Eddie in that, well, you know, it's not a fun commander at all, and that's why it's banned most likely, because, I mean, it is a card that can be pretty oppressive. But also there are other oppressive commanders out there that aren't banned. Again, like Turgid. Turgid is one that is as problematic as this one, in my opinion, if not more so, and it is not banned. So, yeah, this one I think is one that also could be unbanned. It is one that, again, if you're saying, okay, this will compare to that one, does this one deserve to be banned? No. So, yeah, it is definitely one that could be unbanned as well. So, good picks, Eddie. Let Eddie know in the comments below what your thoughts are on these picks. And, yeah, blame Eddie. And now, next up. And next up, we've got Eric, who actually sent in some video clips. Thanks, Eric. So, yeah, I'll let Eric's video clips speak for themselves, and then I'll give you my opinion on them as well. So let's jump into the first one.
All right, Eric here. I'm going to give you my picks for cards that should not be banned and give you some rationale, brief rationale on why I think that. First off, Coalition Victory. Yeah, you win the game, and it is pretty easy to kind of set it up, but it's not that easy. And in the grand scheme of things nowadays, we've got so many other cards that basically do just this, or win you the game on the spot. This, you know, it requires 8 mana. You have to have all 5 colors to do it. You have to, there's hoops to jump through. It's just not that scary of a card.
Okay, so Coalition Victory, let me read that one really quick. A sorcery for 8 mana in total, 3 in Wooburg. You win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. So, yeah, I think I agree with Eric, actually. And this is kind of like the one I would say that most Commander players out there kind of bring up when it comes to, like, why is that card banned? I mean, it is kind of an easy-ish win condition in a way, but again, if you're spending 8 mana, you meet all these requirements, and you can actually, you know, meet the requirements and make sure that this goes through, whether or not being countered, or again, if you just, like, let's say, have a creature of each color in play, and then someone removes one of those creatures in response, yeah, you don't win. So there are ways around it, of course. It's just kind of like a big derpy card, essentially, where it's like, it just seems like a very Commander card, in my opinion, where, again, like, what other format would really be utilizing a card like this? Probably nowhere. And in the only format where it really would be utilized, it is banned because, meh. I guess, again, the rule scheme doesn't really like easy win conditions, but again, there's already a lot of easy win conditions out there too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely fine with this one being unbanned. So, good pick, Eric.
All right, my second pick is Rofellos, Llanowar Emissary. Yes, it's a good card. It's very big and it can be very scary. But, you know, it's nothing more busted than Gaia's Cradle or any of the other big mana producers in the game that are legal. It's a 2 mana commander, right? But you can't really do anything with it until you ramp out some lands, so you got to set things up. You're going to see it coming. So it's just not that scary of a card. Yeah, you can build it in a scary way, but, I mean, when you look at the other things in the game nowadays, this is just not ban worthy in my opinion.
All right, so Rofellos, Llanowar Emissary, let's read it really quick. A 2/1 elf, a legend, I think it's just an elf, for green, probably elf archer, I don't know. Tap for 1 green mana, 2 mana pool for each force you control. So this is one that, yeah, is banned because as a commander, it can get out very, very quickly and obviously ramp pretty quickly as well. Once you get some more and more lands into place, you can tap for quite a lot. I do agree with Eric, though. I do think that this one should be unbanned, and it's kind of funny, actually. When we started this exercise, I was like, maybe I'll start to agree with a couple of these, but I'm like, yeah, you're bringing up good points, and you know what? I do think that there is a lot of cards out there that, again, the more and more cards we're getting these days, it's like the more and more ridiculous things that we see, and like Kinnon's a thing, and yet this is banned, so yeah, I mean, it just... things, you know, when these were banned way back when, were a bit different than they are now, and I think Rofellos should be unbanned. It is a card that... Again, as a commander, sure, it can give you a good amount of mana pretty quickly. That being said, you're in mono green. You're in mono green, and you've got a commander that obviously doesn't protect itself. Does nothing inherently protecting itself, you know, obviously. And, yeah, if it's dealt a couple times, it can take that player a while to get back in there, to actually get it back out. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree, Eric. I think that Rofellos should be unbanned, and I think it's a good pick.
All right, this one's a pet card for me, so I have said it many times to our play group, but Recurring Nightmare should not be banned. Yeah, it's a combo piece. Yes, you can abuse it all the way, but again, there's so many other combo pieces that are legal, that are doing crazy things in the game nowadays. It just isn't that scary. I selfishly really want it for my Alesha deck so that I can abuse it in that, but even still, it's, you know, it requires some setup. It can be interacted with. It's just not that, it's not that scary of a card. And the artwork is so good. How can you deny the artwork in the game? I know Mitch is going to have an opinion about that artwork, but because I don't think he likes it very much, but I like it, and it should be in the game.
Okay, first up, Eric, I don't know why you don't think I like this artwork. I mean, it's all right, I guess. I guess my opinion is that I think it's all right. It does seem very up your alley, though, when it comes to an artwork that is, it is very, very, it's pretty metal. Anyways, an enchantment for 2 and a black sacrifice creature, turn it to its owner's hand, put target creature card from your graveyard into play, play it as a sorcery. Yeah, it's a card that, again, like at the time, it's like, okay, it can be in a lot of different combo scenarios. You can combo with it in a couple different ways, but like we already have a lot of combo cards in Commander, and we're fine with that. Like, I mean, for the most part, there are very few cards that are just like, okay, that's a combo card, it needs to be banned. It's like, well, again, like we have other cards that combo with a ham sandwich, and they're in the game. Like Kiki Jiki is not banned, and that thing combos with so many things. So, yeah, I definitely agree with Eric with this one as well. I think it's a pretty sweet card, and I think that there's no real reason for it to be banned these days compared to, again, some things that we've already had in the past couple of years. So it's like, yeah, it combos, but sure, so do many other things. So I agree with you, Eric, and yes, I think that is some metal art that I think that you very much would enjoy to have in the game. So yeah, let's unban Recurring Nightmare.
All right, my last technically legal unbannable card, I guess, and I'll get to the reason for that in a second. Upheaval. I just think that the Rule 0 conversation is going to make this card not really that played if it was unbanned. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are running it because nobody really wants to play it. Nobody wants a game to continue to go on. I mean, bouncing Cyclonic Rift should make it at least so that somebody wins. If you're bouncing your own stuff in addition to everybody else's, you're just making the game longer, and I just don't see a lot of people playing it. You know, outside of that, Bearer of Heavens is legal, and that one, you know, doesn't see much play. At least I haven't seen much play with that card, and I think I used to play that card, and I kind of took it out of my decks because, again, Rule 0 just took care of it. People don't want to play against it, and I kind of realized I didn't really want to play it either. So I just don't think this card, I mean, unban it or have it banned, it doesn't really matter. It's not like I want to play this card, but I just don't think that anybody really cares about playing it in the first place.
Okay, so Upheaval, a sorcerer for 6 mana, return all permanents to owner's hands. Notably, and why this one is currently banned is because that includes lands, obviously. And yeah, I think I agree with you, Eric, on this one as well, in that it's a card that, like, if it was unbanned, like, it wouldn't really see that much play at all. It's basically like how Armageddon isn't banned, but, like, you never see it played in casual groups because, you know, casual players, for the most part, do not like to play with mass land destructions. This is very similar, where it's like, you wouldn't just see it played everywhere than if it was unbanned. It's a very, very, very powerful effect. And yeah, again, Cyclonic Rift, like you brought up, Eric, is like a one-sided, like, okay, now I'm going to win the game because I bounced everything. This one also can be that as well, though, because I think World Purge is like the fixed version of this, essentially, but you can actually, again, float whatever mana, essentially, and just play. I mean, this was like the Psychotog deck finisher, right? Essentially, way back in the day, you would, you know, dump a bunch of mana, you'd get Psychotog, and then you'd utilize it and have it in play, and your opponent has nothing in play, and then you've got that in play, you discard things, you swing, yeah. Anyways, basically being able to say, okay, this is either a game reset button, which, again, players do not play at a casual level, essentially, or it is a, hey, I win the game because I have played this, which is going to bounce everything. I get a big threat into play. No one else has any threats or anything in play, so I can just win from there. So, yeah, either this is a card, again, that isn't going to see play, and again, the groups that would be afraid of it, or it is a card that's like, hey, this is a finisher. I am finishing the game with this. Let's all just scoop after I get, you know, my Blightsteel Colossus out at the exact same time I get this down, or I'll just swing for 3 turns and you're all gone. So, yeah, I think I agree, Eric. I do think that this one could be unbanned. So, yeah.
Okay, the last card is, I don't think it ever could be unbanned because it's not even on the ban list. It's a silver border card, but Goblin Tutor should be legal in Commander. They should have reprinted it in the unset where they were allowing some cards and to be legal in legacy formats. Goblin Tutor should be legal. I Rule 0 it in one of my Goblin decks. My play group is cool with it. You can whiff on it, like it can do absolutely nothing, which is very on theme for a mono red tutor. And yeah, I mean, you can go get some cool stuff with it, but it isn't busted. It's silver, it's silly, and it should be allowed to be played.
All right, I love how Eric just snuck this one in here. I do think it's a fantastic card, and I do think that this is one that does not need to be silver border. I agree. Again, it's not banned. It's just a card that can't be played in Commander because it is silver border. They really should reprint it as a black border card, though, because, yeah, I mean, it's an instant for a single red mana. I guess I should read it. Roll a 6-sided die. If you roll a 1, it has no effect. Otherwise, search library for the indicated card, reveal, put in your hand, then shuffle your library. 2 is a card named Goblin Tutor. 3 is enchantment. 4, an artifact. 5, a creature. 6, instant or sorcery. So actually, I mean, in Commander, again, a singleton format where you can't have 2 Goblin Tutors, this is a card that has a 1/3 chance to do absolutely nothing, because again, if you roll a 1 or a 2, it's doing nothing for you. So yeah, a very fun, again, kind of red chaotic tutor. I agree, Eric, I agree that this one should be reprinted with black border and yeah, should be allowed to be played. But let's move on to Alex's picks. Handy dandy tablet over here that's got the written notes. Coalition victory. Yeah, getting this to resolve early might feel bad, but there are plenty of other cards combos that effectively win the game under similar circumstances. This one at least definitely ends the game, so you can go on to the next one. Definitely agree. And again, with all the points that was already brought up with the first one, yeah, I think Coalition victory could be unbanned and probably should be unbanned. Next up, we've got Gifts Ungiven. Gifts Ungiven, Intuition is a card that does very similar things and isn't banned. I know the ratios impact the design, but it feels like the unusual reanimating targets just aren't as impactful as they used to be, or as debilitatingly fast. They are likely lines of play that casting this card just lets you win, but you still need the mana and setup to do so. I guess it would contribute to many Reanimator Storm decks to be less diverse, but it feels like that is kind of the case anyway. Yeah, I agree. Let's read this one really quick. An instant for 3 in a blue. Search live to 4 cards with different names and reveal them. Target opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Put the chosen cards in your graveyard, the rest in your hand, then shuffle. So it's a very effective, efficient tutor. Again, it is like, hey, you've got to decide, opponent, what you're giving me, what you're not giving me. Sometimes it's not going to matter. Again, if you build your deck in a certain way where it's like, yeah, combo, storm, essentially you're like, yeah, it's probably not going to matter what your opponents pick at all. So you're going to get things that you need to combo and win. But yeah, we already have other efficient, effective tutors as well. This one really isn't all that. I mean, it's a special card, but like, again, Intuition, I think like I said, is already a thing. So yeah, it is a card that kind of just like a head scratcher when it's like, why is this one on the ban list as well? And again, like, if you're playing in a play group that doesn't like things comboing off, then this isn't going to go get combo cards. And for the play groups that are okay with comboing, this should be an okay inclusion with them as well. So yeah, I definitely agree with that too. And then finally, we've got Primeval Titan. I guess I just don't see this being as scary as it once was. Sure, fast mana and haste into this guy can lead to some really lopsided matchups. So do Turgid, Wheel, Ragavan, etc. Plus, this card can't be your commander and has no other inherent protection. I can see the argument that getting lands allows you to stay ahead by being able to cast more of your deck after being removed. But yeah, I definitely agree, Alec, that, Prime Time, let's read it really quick. A 6/6 giant with trample for 6 mana in total, enters the battlefield or attacks. Make sure to fly for the 2 land cards, pull on battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. I mean, I think the initial rules committee argument is the game revolves around the card once it comes down. But again, there are so many other game revolves around the card when it comes down effects out there. Just like, hey, now we really care about the Sphinx, the draw 2 Sphinx essentially. There's so many just cards that are like, oh my gosh, okay, the game is revolving around this now, we need to focus on this. Yeah, again, there's no inherent protection on it. Sure, yeah, you get an ETB, congratulations, you get 2 lands, and against any kind of land, so sure, go get your Gaia's Cradle or whatnot. On attack, you get more too. Yeah, it's a powerful card, but again, just kind of compared to some of the other things that are banned, it's like, is it really that bad? I don't think so. So yeah, Alec, I definitely agree with that one. Now let's go on to my quick short list after, reading through all the other ones. And again, thank you, Playgroup, for your fantastic picks and all your help on this. Panoptic Mirror is my first pick. And this is one that always stood out to me. It's just like, really, why is this banned? An artifact for 5 mana, imprint for X and tap, move an instant storage card, and convert mana cost X in your hand from the game. Beginning of your upkeep, you make copy an imprinted instant storage card, and play the copy while paying its mana cost. This one just doesn't make any sense. This is just so specific of a scenario where it's like, okay, this is banned because we're afraid that someone's going to get oh no, Armageddon attached to this. And then it's just going to wipe the lands out again and again and again and again and again. Armageddon's not banned because casual players don't play mass land destruction for the mass majority of playgroups unless playgroups are okay with that. So therefore, that's not an actual problem. Or sure, you get infinite turns with this. Yeah, okay, but again, you need to, first up, get this in play, pay that imprint cost, have it go around the table and get back to you for your upkeep so that you can actually have that effect happen. And then sure, with your 2-card combo, yes, you have won the game. But you also just had to have a lot of mana, you had to sit this in play, and you had to hope that it didn't get dealt with. So there's so many other combos out there that it's this is just Why is this banned? Again, the play groups that be afraid of it aren't the ones that be playing the cards that would make this actually scary. And again, it's not really even inherently all that scary because you got a full turn to deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, sorry, there's the combo and they win. So yeah, Panoptic Mirror, this one never made sense to me. I do not understand why this one is banned. Please unban it. Another one that I brought up actually before it was sent over. We agree on this one, Alec. Primetime. I do think Primetime should be unbanned. So yeah, that is another one that I think should be unbanned. And then of course, free Braids. Braids Cabal Minion should not be banned at all. A 2/2 human minion for 4 mana. Maybe each player's upkeep, the player sacrifice an artifact, creature, or land. Yeah, the reason why this is banned is because as a commander, yeah, that's a scary effect. But also, there's other scary effect commanders out there that, yeah, don't see play because they are also just, you know, ones that aren't casual. This is not a casual effect like a stacks effect that is going to, again, be in the command zone. You're not going to see that at a casual table because most casual players don't want to play against that, which is fair and fine. And playgroups that are playing against it will play it. So again, it's one that's like, oh, it's banned because we don't want players playing as a commander. Players aren't going to play it as their commander for groups that be afraid of that, essentially, right? That's not going to happen. When it comes to this being in the 99, we already have those, 99 type effects that already do this kind of thing as well. See, I don't think Braids should be banned at all. Again, it kind of just self-regulates, essentially, where it's not going to be played against the groups that are afraid playing against it. It's not like you're going to sit down at a table and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to play my trigger deck. It's like, yeah, okay, good for you. Oh, I'm playing Braids deck. Oh, no, that one is so bad. How dare you? Yeah, no, it's not going to go against the play groups that are not okay with playing against it again. So, again, for like the millionth time that I say, please, please, please unban Braids. So again, a massive thank you to Alec, Eric, and Eddie for helping out with this episode, sending over your picks for the cards that must be unbanned. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. How off are we? Are you like, no, none of those should be unbanned? What are you talking about? This is crazy. Is that the case, or do you agree with some of these? So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Are there any that we didn't bring up that you think should be unbanned? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.